Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is about to be released soon, and I thought therefore we would talk about the beta that is about to end soon when I'm making this video. First, I want to say thanks to Activision Nordic sending me a code so I could play and therefore also make this video for you. But I'm not sponsored in any way, so the impressions will be my honest impressions after quite a few hours spent into the Modern Warfare 3 beta. As you may know, the first weekend of the beta was PlayStation dedicated, so I've been playing the beta on weekend 2 since I'm playing on PC, so some of my thoughts and impressions are based on that. There's one big elephant in the room when it comes to the recent COD games that has been discussed, and it's also one thing that is not much appreciated by a lot of players in the COD community, and that is the skill-based matchmaking. But before we get to the discussion about skill-based matchmaking, which I'm referring to in the title of the video, I first want to share some of the general impressions when it comes to the beta. That does not include the perk system or gear system, since I don't really have a strong opinion about that, not yet at least, and it has been explained well by many other content creators already, so I'll skip that for now. If you've played Modern Warfare 2019 or Modern Warfare 2 2022, you will recognize the visuals, meaning the graphics, even though it's Sledgehammer Games that are making Modern Warfare 3. With that said, the graphics are, unfortunately, in my opinion, a bit of a downgrade compared to, let's say, Modern Warfare 2019. I've never been a fan of this kind of art style or design when it comes to graphics in a Call of Duty game, meaning the brown kind of gray tone graphics. It doesn't really look well for me, or at least a bit washed out, if I put it like that. But it can also mess up the visibility to a certain degree in the game, since players tend to blend into the background quite some in the game, and people are therefore having a hard time to differentiate friend from foe. Sure, Sledgehammer did increase the size, for example, of the name above the players' heads and also made the enemies' names red instead, but I still see people shooting teammates by mistake once in a while, and I can't blame them, even though you get more used to it, of course, after some time playing. That's why I, for example, enjoyed Cold War by Treyarch, since it has quite bright colors, which both helps out when it comes to visibility, but also makes you overall a bit more happy when playing the game. Let me know if it's only me that feels that way in the comments. The audio in the game is pretty okay, although there has been occasions when I've been able to hear my teammates' footsteps louder around me and therefore better compared to the enemy. This is something that has been addressed, and Sledgehammer are going to fix this before launch. They've said that. When it comes to movement, I'm happy to see though that Sledgehammer did decide to use a faster movement pattern in the game overall, something that can also be increased if you choose to do so in the gear system. This decision, alongside with Sledgehammer Games' style of making their games, makes it play a bit more like older COD games to a certain degree. Add to that they also decided to increase the base health of the players up to 150, I believe, and you also get a bit of a higher time to kill, which does make 1v1 gunfights a bit more interesting in my opinion. These kind of design choices felt appealing to me when I started to play the beta, since I do enjoy design choices that reminds me about older COD games, because many of the modern features added into COD over the recent years, especially when it comes to attempts to make the games more tactical, meaning a slower pace kind of game, doesn't really work well with a game that was initially made in order to be a fast-paced and casual arcade kind of shooter. But at the same time, as I'm putting these decisions on the plus side of things when it comes to the beta, I do also want to add that even though it is cool to see the OG maps from Modern Warfare 2 2009, such as High Rise, Rust, etc. in the beta, I was still hoping that there would have been at least one new map designed by Sledgehammer Games in rotation in the beta, so we could have been able to get a feel for what we might expect when it comes to new content in the full game. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind playing some of the older Modern Warfare 2 2009 maps, since some of them are really good, but personally I was hoping for a taste of something new and fresh as well already in the beta, especially since I'm one of those guys that played these older maps a lot back in the days. When it comes to the gunplay, there's definitely room for improvements here, and I'm not referring so much to the actual guns or balancing, since that will come later when the game is out. It's more about the overall gameplay performance, since there was quite a lot of moments where I experienced package loss or a desync and latency. Since I mainly play as a sniper, I did get a lot of hit markers, especially when unlocking and using the second sniper in the beta that is called longbow. Not sure if it's a combination of kind of a lower base damage on the actual gun, since I do aim high and usually hit the upper chest, neck or head area, or if the hit markers also was in combination with package loss or desync issues. A small note here, by the way, there was no bolt action sniper available in the beta, something I was hoping that it would be and be able to try it out. I guess I just have to wait for the full release when it comes to that. There's always more to talk about when it comes to the actual gunplay or gameplay, but since I wanted to touch base about as much as I could think of in this video when it comes to the impressions, I then feel that we need to move on and will therefore talk about two of the things that I disliked the most in the beta. One thing is the spawn system when it comes to the maps. It became clear after some time that Sledgehammer Games really need to look into the spawn system, especially on some of the maps. I believe the worst example I can give you is when I was playing Domination on high-rise. For some reason, you were spawning in the lower part of the map very so often. Let's call it the basement, especially if you haven't played high-rise before. That in combination with the fact that even though you might have the A and B flag captured, the enemy could start to spawn on the A flag all of a sudden, which made it very hard to get any kind of map control. This is just an example, but it did cause problems of some of the other maps as well, or on some of the other maps as well, and it therefore ruined the experience a bit when it comes to how I used to experience a map such as high-rise back in the days. Let's hope that this is a priority alongside with better performance. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about what I, as a somewhat experienced COD and FPS player, believe is one of the biggest problems in Modern Warfare 3, and it's one thing that unfortunately will not go away anytime soon, but it will definitely turn some players away from the game, and that is, ta-da, skill-based matchmaking. If you're new to the game or if you're a very casual player, you might not even notice or might not even care, but if you're good or at least decent at the game, you will eventually notice. And most of the time it's not a very pleasant experience. It might take a few hours of gameplay, but believe me when I say the skill-based matchmaking system will kick in eventually. Is this something that is negotiable? Meaning, would Sledgehammer or Activision consider to remove skill-based matchmaking from the game? No, that won't happen since there's money to be made here. And I recently came across a post made by a Call of Duty YouTuber called BlameTruth, the Codfather. And I wanted to quote him when it comes to a community post he made on YouTube recently when it comes to skill-based matchmaking in the Modern Warfare 3 beta. I hope he doesn't mind, since I did recognize many of the experiences I've had as well with this system in Call of Duty, so here it is. The skill-based matchmaking switch flipped, and I can now safely say, do not purchase Modern Warfare 3. This is the best Call of Duty gameplay-wise since Black Ops 4, but it's ruined by a predatory, dishonest system meant to reward retards for being retarded and punish any player for actually improving. But that's so easily exploitable by any content creator with a brain that it defeats the purpose entirely. I grinded to top 1-ish stats in Cold War just to see if I could do it, and can tell you it's absolute hell. Every single match feels like a tournament, and the outcomes of matches are literally rigged, as in you will never get good teammates playing solo and will be forced into losses by the matchmaking algorithm. There's no variety. You use the best stuff 24/7 with no casual fun, and at a certain point players don't get better, they get cheaper. On top of your ping being worse the higher MMR you get, and a difference in ping when facing literal clones of yourself already dictates the winner. This is the saddest shit in gaming, and I hate to see an actual good Call of Duty finally, after years of shit, be worthless because of this. Save your money. End of quote. Well, this is of course harsh words by BlameTruth the Codfather, but I can see and understand where it's coming from, since I also started to play Call of Duty back in the days when it comes to COD 4. And I believe that it's kind of sad, since I do also believe that Modern Warfare 3, if we're talking about the game with SBMM out of the discussion for a second, then this is or could be quite a good Call of Duty game to come. I would say one of the better ones in comparison if I look back a few years in the rear mirror. So what could they do if they would decide to remove skill-based matchmaking against all odds? Well, they could make game modes where you start as a beginner, or a certain place to be as a beginner. Let's say up to rank 10 or something like that. And then you'll be able to play the social or casual playlists. And when you reach a certain rank there, you also unlock ranked. But as said, skill-based matchmaking is here to stay. And yes, it's been around for quite some time now, so that's that. Will they decide to tune it down a bit though? I have no idea, but what I do know is that a lot of people will hesitate when it comes to buying the game due to skill-based matchmaking. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are your thoughts or experiences so far when it comes to the upcoming Modern Warfare 3 release? And what kind of impact do you think that skill-based matchmaking will have when it comes to the overall gaming experience in Modern Warfare 3? And will you buy the game? A lot of questions there, so take your time. And if you feel like it, put a comment in the comment section, because I read and I always answer. So with that said, thanks for watching. And also, if you enjoyed the video, please give a like on the video and consider to subscribe if you want to see more FPS gaming content on my channel. So thanks for watching once again, and have a good day and game on. Later.